So, how did I realize that I was experiencing a twin flame journey? I didn't come to the realization the way a lot of people do. A lot of people, they start noticing the patterns, they start seeking outside of themselves, and then they find a plethora of somewhat information online um, from other people who've experienced the journey, who've experienced this kind of connection. And a lot of what those experiences are, they don't speak about them in a way that's like, oh, this is really a case by case basis that just happens to follow similar patterns in some ways. So, um, so that's not how I realized. I wasn't going to these outside sources, which is probably why it took me quite a while longer to even realize what it was. I understood that the connection was intense, deep, important, and had a significance. And I tried to understand it as much as I could. And so, what I ended up doing is I just kept going within, within, within. It it was really, really unpleasant, really hard, really difficult. When you're faced with yourself, you can't run. You can't run. There's nowhere to run. There's only you and yourself, and there you are. um, so actually, it was during a period of separation, complete no contact, that I had really done a huge amount of inner work. And I was invited to participate in a plant medicine ceremony. And so I went, and I actually didn't have this situation on my mind. Um, it was not something I was seeking answers to going into ceremony. It was not at all. What I asked of the medicine going into ceremony was, please teach me what I need to learn. Please show me what I need to see. Please help me understand what I need to understand. Because I'm very much focused on my soul purpose here. For me, my soul purpose is the most important thing to me. And so that was what my mindset was going into this plant medicine ceremony. So, um, once we were in ceremony the first night, I started to see the beginnings of something. What I was being shown was going to be big, was going to be huge. I just didn't understand how huge. Um, but when we went into ceremony the second night, I saw all of it. All of it. And one portion of what I was shown, and this is actually not even a fraction of what I was shown. Part of it was I was shown being that individual, that singular consciousness, and that consciousness splitting. And I recognized the other piece, the piece that had split off from me. I recognized it. I recognized that energy signature as this person that is in my life, this friend of mine. And I was shocked. Did not expect that. So no, I had to literally be shown, like, this is what it is, in order for me to be like, oh, a whole lot makes sense now. Like, a whole lot makes sense, because really, until you realize what that connection actually is, there's a lot about it that, like, it doesn't feel like it makes sense because of the intensity, because of the almost tumultuous nature of it, because underneath all of this intensity and tumultuousness and this, like, push and pull thing happening, underneath all that is this deep reverence and love for somebody, this truly unconditional love. Like, even in my darkest moments, I remember thinking I just want them to be happy with whatever they choose in life. And I would love to be able to be part of that, to witness whatever path their life takes and whatever they choose for their lives. But if they choose to not have me in it, I can accept that because I just want them to be happy. I just want them to be fulfilled and content. For me, a lot of the journey was honestly putting that other person before myself because I was thinking more of them than I was thinking about myself. And really, like, that was a huge part of the conditioning that I had to change is putting myself first when everything in me was screaming to put them first. And that was such a bizarre thing for me. It went against kind of my I'm going to say it went against my nature at the time, right? Because that's what I understood as my nature of being just an outwardly generous person with my own energy, time, and effort. And that was in every way. And to realize that actually, no, that was my conditioning. That was my conditioning. And there are beautiful parts of that. So there are parts of that that are significant for me culturally because as a people, that generosity is part of who we are. But it was never meant to be, oh God, my German Shepherd. But it was never meant to be um, a generosity that depletes from the self, you know? If you think about it, it was more like you were considered rich because you had things to give. Well, we have to look at that energetically too. We are only able to give if we are rich in our own resources. So if I am depleting my resources to give, I am putting myself into mental, emotional, and spiritual poverty, energetic poverty. And I had to really come to terms with that idea. But yeah, so I guess it's kind of veered off. This veered off in an interesting way. But yeah, it's like I had to be shown by the medicine what the connection was because I wasn't trying to jump to conclusions. I was trying to be very practical in how I was approaching and looking at everything, because I was experiencing something that didn't make sense to me, um, at an intensity with which didn't make sense to me. And the connection was pulling up patterns for me that I didn't realize I had. And it was pulling up things that I thought I had truly dealt with and healed within me. And in any other connection, none of this would have come up. In any other connection, um, I'll use attachment style as an example. In every other connection that I've had over the last few years, I have lived in a complete and utter state of healthy attachment style in relationship. This pulled out anxious attachment style for me, whereas I have not had anxious attachment style in many, many years. Um, so yeah, it's this journey within, and we don't all come to the realization in the same way. Some of us have to be hit over the head with it.